You know, some weeks really feel like a decade, don't they? One tragedy, one headline that gaslights it, and one silent majority just trying to make a living while the media shoves its neat little narrative down your throat like your mom when you don't want to eat your vegetables. Mainstream news is so saturated with negative stories, but somehow only ever shows the one side of an already fake reality. Take Irina Zaritska, that girl on the bus stabbed by a guy who'd been let off 14 times by some judge who thought that was a good idea. 14 times, man. And somehow, just somehow, saying maybe that's a problem is too controversial not to start a 3-hour headache with the wrong person. Have we lost our minds so much that punishing criminals now is seen as a violation of their identity? I mean, you can't preach utopia if you can't keep the train platforms safe. But you know, over the last year, I honestly haven't engaged much with politics because I realize 95% of online discourse is just uninformed strangers wasting each other's time on Discord or Reddit. Rarely do you ever see anyone actually change the other person's mind. If every idea you dislike is some form of extremism, then the only logical conclusion is that nuance dies instantly, and that I'm automatically the enemy. And that's exactly how we got here. You can't even hold two thoughts at once anymore without pressure to choose some side. I can say, yeah, George Floyd's death wasn't the best look for the police, but if I also say Charlie Kirk, flawed and all, was American too, and that his murder probably deserves the same kind of symbolic recognition, suddenly I'm the villain. Why though? Because empathy is selective now, I guess. Floyd fit the narrative they were looking for, but obviously we all know Kirk didn't. But weren't they both sons, both neighbors, both human beings of the same place? Compassion used to mean seeing the person before their ideas, their politics, but now it's just another partisan filler for friends. And while we're talking about selective empathy, anyone remember the Epstein files? For a week, the internet was obsessed. Names of the rich and powerful, from politicians to princes, maybe the biggest scandal of our time yet, and then poof, vanished into thin air. Buried under the next TikTok trend. Memory hold. Even outrage has a shelf life now. Truth expires like the cereal in your cupboard. The media points the camera, crops out the context, and then crucifies the people who don't trust the picture. Then there's Charlie Kirk, like I said. I'll be pretty real with you all. I mocked his ideas when he was alive sometimes. I didn't agree with him on much either, as you know. But when a man gets shot in the neck for his politics and the internet laughs, I just can't help but think, man, that guy had a family and kids. But the internet cheers because empathy doesn't trend as much as outrage. On the other hand, now that I'm literally an ocean away from the United States, and the Western world more broadly, I've finally been able to step back from the unapologetic sociopathy for a bit, watch all sides, if we can even call this a sides problem, and realize this: ideas are all fun and games to talk about, sure, but the game itself is rigged by incentives. Compassion doesn't sell, but anger sure the hell does. Guess which one gets an ad budget? Just as an example, in Japan, hardly anyone talks about politics. The attitude here is almost defeatist in a way. They'll say politicians will do what they want, and participation is an illusion of free will. Why waste time arguing about something that could wreck a friendship when nothing really changes anyway? And truthfully, a part of me really gets what they're saying. Back in 2016, though, I still had some kind of idealistic hope. That was the year the media cranked up its politically correct crusade, splitting progressives who dreamed of some kind of cultural revolution from conservatives who thought it was all nonsense. Facts don't care about your feelings. I'm not going to use your pronouns. I'm classically liberal, yada yada. In hindsight, it's all pretty cringe, but when I was 18, I bought into all of that. What novice politics enthusiast wouldn't? But mostly, it just put a target on my back that never really goes away. Too many people want to believe they know you before you even open your mouth. We don't support your views because they're insert epithet here, and you can't even ask, what did I say? Because their righteousness blinds them. 9 years later in 2025, the conversation seriously hasn't evolved much. COVID took the masks off. Riots also happened. Endless online vitriol. It just made the divide starker, if anything. Half of America supposedly hates the other, while the top 1% sip their martinis and laugh, because none of this noise matters as long as they keep their money and their power. Everyone's screaming, "Civil War! Civil War!" But do I think that's gonna happen? No. Hey Chud, what's the golden rule? Nothing ever happens. That's right. And about a year ago, Lane, my creative partner, introduced me to DBDR, now known as Hat Flying. and hearing him describe his miserable life was my first real black pill. The real America no one talks about, the poor, unattractive man living out of his car, drowning in debt, ignored by his parents and politicians who only care about donors and demographics. That's the world we actually live in, or at least the one America does. For the debates, they don't change much either. Maybe they sway one close friend if you're lucky, but as far as I'm concerned, compassion is the only currency that matters, and yet we've been conditioned to shrug at the most heinous examples of human cruelty, to celebrate our opponent's misery. And for what? What do you do? Well, many of you, like me, have taken the black pill, realizing this kind of power struggle is eternal. But eventually, you learn how to relax. You close your eyes and stop trying to fight a system that thrives on keeping you angry. Whenever I think about some dumbass major issue, I notice that raising awareness only matters if it somehow is spread across a large group of people who feel the same way, who empathize with you, who resonate with you. Otherwise, it's tantamount to shouting angrily into the nihilistic abyss. The way normies talk is so rigid. One person yells, "Small government!" Another chants "tolerance" until the word goes numb and loses all meaning. Neither side offers nuance, but millions cling to slogans like gospel. And I don't have any intention to be like another NPC regurgitating garbage from people who pretend to understand, but don't. For people like us, the black-pilled, the red-pilled, it's been a journey. We grew up with a boomer paradigm. Don't judge by race. Being gay is fine. Capitalism is the only system. Work hard. Be proud of American. Then identity politics went nuclear. People started believing you could just declare yourself something and the world would instantly accept it. Cue the reactionary wave of the 2010s. It fizzled out due to no unity, no real mythos bringing it together. Here we are shrugging while saying, this is all pretty much fucked. The government doesn't care, and people are happy being useful idiots as long as their sacred cows are protected. So, you step back, you take in the alternative viewpoints, and maybe, just maybe, you choose sanity. I'm aware this is coming off as apathetic, but really all I'm doing is reallocating my attention. Politics is normie theater, and the target audience is us, and I'm fucking done buying tickets. But as always, Scrutly Motley.